Well, we are leaving Philadelphia, heading towards New York City. It should be about 2 hours, but I've decided to avoid the New Jersey Turnpike, which can get expensive with our 4 axles, so I've selected avoid tolls on the GPS. And let's see if we can make it a stress-free drive. After a while on the 295, we hop onto US 1, and eventually the Garden State Parkway. It does get a little complicated as we approach Jersey City, making it a little bit of a stressful drive, but that was to be expected, right? On the other hand, we see the Manhattan skyline in the distance, and that's always satisfying. It is a little bit of a hot mess here on Communipaw Avenue. The toll road would have taken us on I-78, probably a little better, but then again we would have missed seeing all this west side of Jersey City. Here we turn onto Grand Street, heading towards downtown Jersey City. We are almost there. Well, here we are, Liberty Harbor Marina and RV Park. Just like the one back in Philly, we have water and electric only, but at least here we have a slightly better view.
I'm riding in my RV, wherever I want to be. 'Cause I'm free in my RV, yeah.
Here we are, we made it to Liberty Harbor RV Park, and as you can see, it's not much more than a parking lot, but we are right there. Let me show you, New York is right behind these RVs. Yes, in this RV park, the most important amenity is location. Just a few blocks away from the PATH train station, and the ferry terminal is right here. But we're hungry, so we're going to check out Surf City here first. We've got perfect weather here today.
Here we have our burger. Looks pretty good.
And there it is, One World Trade Center. Such a beautiful afternoon here as we walk towards the PATH train station. Well, we just had burgers at the Surf City, and now we're gonna try to go to New York. Apparently the ferry only runs Monday through Friday, which is something we didn't know, but now we do. By the way, today is Sunday.
Steakhouse, which is not open.
It is getting dark, and we're still kind of tired from the trip, so I don't think we're going to spend a whole lot of time in the city tonight, which is a little bit of a bummer because tomorrow is supposed to rain. Anyways, let's catch a train, shall we? We're taking the train here at the Grove Street station, and it is going to be a short ride. Just one more station here on the Jersey side called Exchange Place, and then we go under the Hudson, and we emerge at the New World Trade Center station in Manhattan. A little disoriented here, but eventually we get our bearings. By the way, we took the train called The Path. It's a $2.75 one-way ticket, which might sound a little steep for just 2 stops, but it is the way it is. Beautiful station here. This massive, iconic structure here is called the Oculus, and it was designed by Spanish architect Santiago Calatrava. A little overwhelming, the amount of people all of a sudden, but and it's only a Sunday, so it should be cool. Now that I think about it, it isn't even that crowded, but yes, New York can be a little overwhelming when you first arrive, although you get used to it. Pretty quickly, actually. Check it out, Spider-Man, 2 of them. There it is, through the skylight, One World Trade Center. Well, definitely looks like something Johnny Ive would have designed this station. You know Johnny Ive, the guy who designed the iPhone and all the Apple stuff? It's very pretty. It's also like being inside a whale or something. Very cool. I wasn't expecting this. Well, we're gonna exit through Church Street. Now we just have to make sure that we enter through Church Street as well, otherwise we'll never find it. I'm sure we will. Well, we're in New York. Well, yeah, this city is unmistakable. Although, it has changed a bit since the last time we were here. That building wasn't there, for example. The last time we were here, I think that was December 2012. One World was still under construction back then. This here is the site of the yet-to-be-built 2 World Trade Center. In the meantime, it is this sort of public art thing here. Here's the station from another perspective. And here's the 9/11 Memorial, the site where one of the Twin Towers stood. Now, a hole on the ground in the form of a fountain, with the names of those who died engraved all around it. Here's the new building, One World Trade Center. Lots of security measures around here to protect this area. And very busy airspace as well here in Lower Manhattan. And we almost did go to the observation deck today, but the walk-in price of admission is over $40 after taxes, and we are tired. We're going to come back tomorrow morning for sure. Let's head back to Liberty Harbor. It is a pretty impressive structure, if you ask me. Let's get a train. Yeah, I think we came out through the wrong exit. Okay, let's find our way back to the campground. Oh, walking back to the RV park. Check it out. It's Lady Liberty herself. By the way, it is a little bit of a walk from the RV park to the, it's called Grove Street Station. It's the PATH train that goes into Manhattan. But it even though it's a little solitary, it feels very safe actually to be walking this on a Sunday night. It's what, 8 p.m. right now. We were gonna linger a little more in Manhattan, but we're kind of tired, so we're gonna call it a night and and we'll spend the whole day tomorrow in Manhattan. How about that? Good night. There's a trend, and it's still kind of our favorite, huh? There's the dump station, and the tent area, and the bathrooms are here. Here's the laundry facility, very nice. And there is a gym. We forgot the code or the key, I guess it's closed. But... Well, today it is Monday, so we're going to take the ferry to Manhattan. Here we are. Let's see how the ferry works here. I think we're gonna stay here in the aft section since it is the only outdoor area where we can see the view. Unfortunately, it is kind of cloudy this morning. Actually, I see a little bit of blue sky, so there is hope. There, the historic New Jersey train terminal, Ellis Island and the Statue of Liberty. And the Colgate clock. One thing has me worried. The top of One World is covered in clouds, which means there's no visibility from the top. Perhaps we should have gone last night after all. Little bit of trivia here, a smaller, earlier version of the Colgate clock was moved to Clarksville, Indiana, and can be seen from Louisville across the river. I saw it earlier this year when I visited my family who lives in the area. Here we see once again Ellis Island and the Statue of Liberty. It was a great idea to take the ferry, which by the way is just a commuter ferry, nothing touristy about it. $8 one way, and it is going to drop us off here at the Pier 11 Wall Street terminal. We're not going to visit Lady Liberty on this particular trip, but we will one of these days. Here we see Governor's Island, and in the distance, that's the Verrazano Narrows Bridge that connects the boroughs of Brooklyn and Staten Island. Here we are at the Financial District. This older area of Manhattan, of narrow streets and tall skyscrapers. Trust me, the skyscraper is there. Maybe it is time for a high dynamic range camera. Here we are, walking on Wall Street, which, as we approach the New York Stock Exchange, it becomes pedestrian. The neoclassical building here is the Federal Hall, where George Washington was inaugurated and the Bill of Rights was written. And across the street, well, there it is, the New York Stock Exchange. Don't forget to tag them on Instagram. Seriously. Looking back at the Federal Hall one more time, as the sign says, the birthplace of American democracy. And let's continue walking. It is noisy, by the way, but there is so much we want to see here. But first, a quick breakfast at this random place here called Cozy Bread. That's where we had breakfast. Let's continue.
He's still got it, so it's not like no.
Lots of security barricades all around the stock exchange, and all the security theater perhaps one of the longer-lasting unintended effects of the 9/11 attacks. Here we are approaching the Charging Bull, placed here in 1989, perhaps one of the main tourist attractions here in the financial district. I'm not even gonna try to take a picture because, as you can see, it is a zoo all around it. Actually, I think I'm starting to prefer it when people actually line up to take pictures at all these types of landmarks. The bull is, of course, the symbol of financial optimism and prosperity. The newer statue of the fearless girl was placed here in 2017 to promote gender diversity. Apparently, it is supposed to be brave, proud, and strong, but not defiant or belligerent. Anyways, the Bulls sculptor Arturo Di Monica was not very happy about the addition of the girl to his iconic sculpture because, according to him, it corrupts its artistic integrity by distorting the intent of the statue from a symbol of prosperity and strength into a villain. Oh, bummer. Still can't see the top of the One World Trade Center, but it looks like the fog might be clearing up. Here's the Trinity Church of the Episcopal denomination. Very historic. George Washington used to worship here, although the current building was finished in 1846. It was also very important during the 9/11 attacks because people took refuge inside. The American Stock Exchange building here has been vacant since 2008 when it merged with the New York Stock Exchange. This here is Zuccotti Park as we make our way towards Ground Zero and the 9/11 Memorial. Here they have this 26-foot-high rose.
Oh, there it is, almost out of the clouds.
Here we are once again at the 9/11 Memorial, now during the day. Hard to fathom that this is where the Twin Towers once stood. Also, quite moving to see all the names engraved around the fountain. All clear. Now is the time. Here's the survivor tree, which was found in the wreckage and brought back to life. Let's go on to the One World Observatory. And the reason there is nobody here is that they were telling everybody at the entrance that there was zero visibility. I guess no one told them that the top had been clearing up. We enter through this dark cave-like hallway, making our way towards the elevators. Talking about the elevators, we are about to see a very cool video presentation here. 3 of the elevator walls are covered with screens showing how the city of New York evolved along the years. Very, very cool.
Yeah, that's how New York looked for years.
Welcome to One World Observatory.
Hi everyone, you're stepping this way.
At the top, we get treated to yet another video presentation. You can tell they spent a lot of money on this. Eventually, the screens lift, and the actual view is revealed before our eyes. Not quite zero visibility, but it is still a little hazy.
And now, we invite you to enter One World Observatory through the doors on your right, where a spectacular 360-degree view...
The elevator was really cool, but I think the rest is a little overdone. I guess they have to justify the price somehow. There's Mini Teeny. We can see it all the way from here, down there at Liberty Harbor. Here's looking north on the Hudson River. And here they have this very gimmicky screen looking down, as if it is supposed to make me feel vertigo or something. Busy airspace as ever. And there's the ferry we took this morning. The Jersey side, again, which happens to be the clearest one weather-wise so far. Brooklyn, still kind of invisible. We decide to go for a local IPA while Midtown clears up. Well, for a brand new building, this is kind of unacceptable. Craftsmanship is not what it used to be for sure. Visibility is getting better. We can even see the Empire State Building now. Now looking towards Chinatown and the Lower East Side, the Manhattan and Brooklyn bridges. There is the Washington Square Arch, which marks the end of Fifth Avenue. We would love to linger up here all day, get our money's worth, especially now that visibility is getting so much better. There's the Verrazano Narrows Bridge again in the distance.
Okay, one last look at Lady Liberty before we go down.
The 270-degree presentation on the way down makes you a little dizzy at the beginning, but it's also really good.
Thank you for visiting One World Observatory.
Pretty cool. All right, let's do it.
We wanted to go to the 9/11 museum. I've heard great things about it, but the line seems to be pretty long. I've also heard it's kind of a downer, as it should be. It was horrible what happened here. They say the line goes pretty fast, but still, I think we're going to do this some other time.
Well, this here is the 9/11 museum, and I really wanted to check it out. They say it's really moving, really well made, but there's a little bit of a line, so we're gonna save this for the next time. Let's walk around New York a little bit.
A very nice couple back at the RV park this morning. They were leaving and they had 2 Metro cards with like 5 trips each, so they were nice enough to give them to us. I'm telling you, fellow RVers are the best. So we are going to use them and take the subway a few blocks north into the Chelsea neighborhood because we want to walk on the High Line, which is this linear park built on what used to be an elevated railroad track. Should be cool. By the way, I can never get tired of this station. I think it's so beautiful. We are going to take line 1 towards Uptown, and our train is here. We got off at 14th Street, which is near the southern end of the High Line, and actually is Chelsea's southern boundary. This looks like the New York I remember seeing in the 1970s movies when I was growing up. Kind of dirty and worn out, somewhat intimidating. It looks like we started walking the wrong way, but now we are on the right track. Walking west. Walking to the west. I have great orientation when I travel above ground, but the subway seems utterly confusing. Perhaps because we are not used to it. Well, here we are, the High Line. You can still see the railroad tracks in some areas.
Nice view of all the construction happening. Nice condos.
Very nice area for people to hang out, get away from the hustle and bustle a little bit.
You can get your feet wet in there.
Over here they have this area with a cafe and some vendors, ice cream and that kind of stuff. Interesting. Once in a while you encounter one of these observation decks where you can sit down and observe the city as if it was a play transpiring before your very eyes. The High Line here, by the way, almost 2 miles long. Its construction began in 2006 and the final phase opened to the public in 2014. It was in part inspired by Promenade Plantée in Paris, completed in 1993, which also involved repurposing an old elevated track into an urban park. There is, of course, New York's most famous building, the Empire State. Lots of modern architecture, along with the old types actually. Quite a few murals and street art along the way as well. Well, nothing like having an apartment right next to the High Line, right? To get your point across to thousands of people. It is actually getting pretty crowded now. There's the Chrysler building, of course. Home improvement, perhaps? By the way, those condos are probably worth several millions of dollars.
Continue exploring New York here, the island of Manhattan. And if you want to see Times Square, wrong video, we're not going to go there today. We're just going to do whatever we haven't done in the city. And the High Line was one of the things we had not done yet. And it's really cool. We really liked it.
This is so quintessentially New York, isn't it? Here we see what seem to be the original train tracks. By the way, this is the newest section, the one that just opened in 2014. And all these trains here at the 34th Street Hudson Yards subway station, I think.
And this is the end of the High Line.
We stop at this Irish pub called McGarry's for a refreshing IPA. Then we continue, wandering on 34th Street, going towards Broadway. There's Penn Station as we continue walking east. New York is certainly unique, isn't it? Ooh, looks nice up there. As we approach 7th Avenue, here's Macy's, the flagship store, first opened in 1902. Here's the entrance. Now approaching Broadway. Wow, so many people. And I kind of lied unintentionally about not showing you Times Square. You can kind of see it in the distance. We are going to continue south here on Broadway, and there it is, One World Trade Center. I've always wanted to walk the streets of New York like this, without any particular destination in mind, and just absorb the multi-sensory experience that this city provides. Yes, it is crazy. It is noisy. It can be dirty. Sometimes it smells really good, sometimes it doesn't. Yet, it's gotta be the greatest city in the world in its own way. It is a place where you can find anything. Hear virtually every language in the globe, and see peoples of all races, all backgrounds, all religions, all professions, flowing together, yet apart, like some sort of human river. And in a certain crazy way, it all seems to work. And after the initial sensory overload, you kind of tune out the noise and become one with it. New York is undoubtedly the capital of the world. By the way, we're going to take another break here by Madison Square and have some wine with the view of the Flatiron. Seems appropriate. Fellow vlogger perhaps?
Roberta's got a honest-to-God smoker here. Let's continue exploring New York City.
By the way, this is called Madison Square Park.
Here in New York. Well, hello there.
This here is the original location of Shake Shack, founded by renowned restaurateur Danny Meyer back in 2004. I am actually quite a fan of Mr. Meyer myself, since I read his book Setting the Table some years back when I had this wild idea of opening a restaurant. I am actually really glad I didn't, but anyways, it is a great book, and next we are going to one of his first restaurants called Gramercy Tavern. It will probably be pricey, but at this point it is almost like a pilgrimage coming here, since the book describes in detail how he opened this restaurant and the process of opening and managing a successful restaurant like this one. I mean, even the bread is great. We also had the slider from the bar menu and the duck meatballs, delicious, and the cheese plate, as we decided to linger and wait for Illy's nephew to get off work and hang out with him. We get to hang out in his apartment for a while, we get to spy on his neighbors, and then there's a rooftop. This has to be the highlight of the day. We can even see One World Trade Center from here.
Sing us a song, dear, the piano man. Sing us a song tonight. 'Cause we're all in the mood for a melody. And when you get us feeling alright.
What a great way to end our day here in New York, catching up at the rooftop until day turns into night. It is time for us to return to Liberty Harbor RV Park on the New Jersey side because tomorrow the journey continues. On the next video, we are going to drive all the way to Maine and see some of the attractions.